This week we explore Albany's historic whaling station and learn all about its gruesome past. We explore Torndirrup National Park and see the incredible Gap, Natural Bridge and Blowholes, as well as head out to the National ANZAC Centre and learn about the rich ANZAC history of the area.
If the wind was in our sails, we'd be all right. If the wind was in our sails, we'd be all right. If the wind was in our sails, and we'll all hang on behind.
Our first stop today was Albany's historic whaling station, just south of Albany. The station was formerly known as the Chains Beach Whaling Station, but was successfully closed in 1978 and has now been converted into an incredible museum and historical site. The first impressive gallery in this museum, however, has nothing to do with whales. The first stop is actually the incredibly impressive Hilda Hotka shell collection that started when the granddaughter of a whaler found a shell on Middleton Beach. The collection is now 10,000 shells strong and is an absolute must-see. Our tour of the station was guided by a fantastic woman who couldn't help but remind me of someone.
He plunges his barbed harpoon into the whale's back. And then with the killing irons, they stab the great beast repeatedly in the neck to stop it diving and make it bleed to death all the faster.
Now, if there's anything at all humane about whaling, believe it or not, it's that harpoon on the bow of Chains 4 with an explosive on it. And you might think, what on earth am I talking about? A harpoon with an explosive more humane? Yep, it meant instant death.
So the Chains 4 was the last ever whale chaser used at the station. It's been beached here and allows us to get up close and personal to how these men got the job done out at sea. The Chains 4 is a Norwegian-built ship from 1948. It is a 48.5 metre ship and weighs 530 tonnes. It has a max speed of 15 knots and 20 men at any one time would man this ship. It was equipped with an explosive harpoon on the front that was rigged with dynamite that when shot into a whale would explode and kill the whale instantly.
Well, a night on the town wouldn't do us any harm. Oh, a night on the town wouldn't do us any harm. Oh, a night on the town wouldn't do us any harm. And we'll all hang on behind. And we'll roll the oar. We'll roll the oar. We'll roll the oar. And we'll all hang on behind.
Oh, this is a cool room. Oh, it's like a desk. This is better than a uni room.
This was made in the 50s, babe.
This is really cool.
I can live in something like this.
I know, look at the nice windows and stuff. Very cool.
Oh, we got the toilet.
It looks so great to the photo.
What is that?
The beds actually feel pretty comfy.
Yeah, that's
But I
cool.
don't know if they'd be like the genuine mattresses from back then.
Yeah.
That one's not as good, but the one over there is really
No,
good.
that's the one I checked out.
So next, guys, I'd really like to give you a brief explanation of how the whales were then processed on shore. I know it's kind of gross, but it was really interesting and I will try and explain it as best as possible without making you lose your dinner. So men known as flencers would attach hooks to the whales that were brought ashore by the ship. They'd be dragged up onto what's known as the flencing deck to be processed. The meat, guts and bones would then basically be fed through 6 holes in the deck that led directly into tanks in the lower factory. The bones, meat and blood were all crushed and mixed and then let to settle in their various products. It's really as simple as that. However, the stories the tour guides tell here and the stories of the men who actually worked here are absolutely fascinating. So if you ever get the chance to visit, I would highly recommend it. The people here are lovely and answered all the crazy questions I could think of. I had an amazing experience here and would do it a million times over.
Well, a night on the town wouldn't do us any harm. Oh, a night on the town wouldn't do us any harm. Oh, a night on the town wouldn't do us any harm. And we'll all hang on behind. And we'll roll the oar. We'll roll the oar. We'll roll the oar. And we'll all hang on behind.
So how did my little nerd enjoy that?
Oh my god, that was the best.
I don't think there's going to be many museums that you're not going to enjoy.
No, I'm a bit of a geek, bit of a nerd burger.
Yeah.
No, it was really good.
Awesome.
It was really, really good. So after having our minds blown at the whaling station, we headed out to Torndirrup National Park to check out salmon holes, the blowholes, and a place called the Gap and the Natural Bridge. The last place we saw in Torndirrup National Park was the Blowholes. The Blowholes are pretty cool. They're formed when massive waves smash against the cliff faces relentlessly, causing bits of rock to blow apart and create tunnels through the rock. The water and air then blasts up through these tunnels and out through the top of the rock, creating these amazing blowholes.
We should.
What do you think of that?
That's it's very loud.
Really?
Very obnoxious.
It's so scary. So loud. So this afternoon we're heading out to the National ANZAC Museum in Albany. I've been really excited about this one because it was opened in 2014 for the commemoration of the Anzacs who left Albany for World War I, and it's really cool. It's very interactive, and apparently at the beginning of the tour or the museum, oh god, you get given a photograph of either a nurse or a soldier or someone who served in the war at the time, and you follow their journey throughout the entire museum, and at the end, the very last installation of the museum shows you how that person died. So we're really excited, aren't we, hun?
Yeah, it's going to be good. It's I think for the memorabilia of what's put across, I think it's going to be good to live through the stories of what they had once been through.
Yeah, so stay tuned. So Kiz and I didn't manage to get a lot of footage while we were inside the National ANZAC Centre for the obvious reasons. The main one being that the place was so interesting and there was so much to take in and read that we just really wanted to focus on what we were doing. But the rumours were true. You do get given a little card and you do get to follow a soldier or nurse through the exhibits. So Kiz and I will tell you a little bit now about each of the servicemen that we followed through the exhibit. So it's now Thursday and we've actually just finished our trip to Rottnest Island. So it's been a while since we filmed this video, but it's getting released next Wednesday. We're about to head to Cervantes, so we're releasing it a little bit earlier. Well, we're scheduling it a little bit earlier. So that explains why we look a little different and we're a bit ragged. But we're going to film this section now so that you can still understand what we saw and experienced at the ANZAC Centre. It's just a little bit late. So I hope you can hear us over the dry. We're actually at the laundromat in Perth, washing some clothes and things before we head to Cervantes because all of our stuff is trashed from Rottnest. So I'll just get Kiz to tell you a little bit about his guy at the ANZAC Centre, and I'll tell you a bit about mine, just give you a bit of understanding about the cool stuff you get to see while you're there.
So at the beginning you get handed a card. My card in particular, the person I'm following around is Captain Arthur Gordon Smith. Long name. The fantastic part about these is what you follow the journey of these servicemen, and at little platforms along the way of the ANZAC Centre you'll put this down. What I had found out through my person is that he led, or was part of the Royal Navy, and he was been in service since he was 18 and finished when he was 40. Working through his ranks, he was deemed captain on one of the first ships leading the convoy, the first convoy. Yeah, so each of them, they all have their story to tell. There's probably about 12 of them that you follow through. It's a very spectacular museum, highly recommended. It was not something I knew of about the Albany being a site where they launched off for the first convoy and second convoy. And yeah, it was a pretty spectacular experience, highly recommended.
So I was given Sergeant Colin Bloomer. He went out in the first convoy from Albany on a boat whose name I can't pronounce, but I'll write it down here. And he lied about his age to get into the Navy, or the Army, one of the others. He was 17 and a bit, and he lied to say he was 18 so he could get in. He served for full 3 years in the Army minus 1 month. So he was quite injury prone, which is very relatable. He got shot a couple of times and broke a few bones and things and was in and out of the hospital and ended up getting discharged 1 month before the actual finish date. So he was there for most of it, just got discharged 1 month early. And when he finished, he was qualified veterinarian, which is cool because I'm a qualified veterinary biologist, which I found really interesting and I could really relate to him. When he finished his service and went home, he became a vet, and a university in England has actually named their research veterinary studies wing after him, which I think is really cool. So he's actually quite well known, and I found it really interesting and very relatable. It was kind of eerie how close all of our details were. So I really enjoyed the ANZAC Centre. It was very cool.
Nice one.
That evening we returned back to the National ANZAC Centre to check out the Field of Light Avenue of Honour, which is a light installation produced by Bruce Munro. It's a tribute to all those who left to fight World War I from Albany. The installation is only here until April 28th, and we were lucky enough to be here to check it out. It's an incredibly in-depth and moving tribute to those who fought in our Great War. If you are in the area and are able to check it out, I highly recommend you do. However, if you can't, head to the Avenue of Honour website and check out the videos there, and also the audio tour, which you can do on the computer or on your phone at any time. The installation was absolutely stunning and not something I'll forget soon. As always, thanks for watching, guys. Next week we take you from Albany to Augusta. We visit the Valley of the Giants and Green's Pool and Elephant Rocks in Denmark, as well as the crazy Pemberton Pool in Pemberton.
It was echoing.
I was like, there's going to be a hole here and Kieran's face in it. Much film during the tour of the museum. I'm tired.
You have a stroke?
I'm doing a voiceover.